If you know it, follow me. If not, listen. Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotir gamaya, mrityu ma amritam gamaya, sarvesham swasti bhavatu, sarvesham shantir bhavatu, sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, sarvesham purnam bhavatu, loka samista sukhino bhavantu, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santo niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashitukam Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim bushtivadanam uvarukamiva bandhanam mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. So, today's Sunshine Lecture is a continuation of Essentials of Life. And this is a whole series that I'm doing because there are certain things you have to have in life. And that essential would be reflection. Today we'll talk about reflection. So what is reflection? What do we mean by reflection? To look at, right? But really it simply means looking at something that from what I'm talking about today, that has happened to you from a different point of view. Why are you all sitting so far away?
Just happened.
Okay. Examining our thoughts of what happened is a reflection. Our response to them and decisions we have made and their consequences. Generally, we don't look at that. Generally, we just respond. And that's very unfortunate because responses are automatic. And that means if it's automatic, it's reinforcing what's already in your brain, or your neurotransmitters are just responding automatically. That means when you respond automatically to things that are in your life, what happens is that the same thing keeps repeating over and over. Nothing new happens. We don't understand how our mind works. Our mind creates the same situation if we don't change the responses. Because our mind creates the situations around us. You think somebody else is doing it. No, our response to the situations, and if they're the same. Now those responses come from either from your feeling, they come from, it can become an emotional response, or it's a response that has been taught to you by someone, like parents, like friends, like teachers, all of those things. And they might not be the response that you personally would have preferred. Or you got so used to it, you don't want to make an effort to make a different response. And so this is why we generally don't want to make the effort. This is why our life takes the same pathway most of the time. You need to understand now with the new science, this yoga has been talking about changing the grooves in our brain. Now neuroscientists are saying I'm looking at the prasad going up. Looking at your neurotransmitters, what are they called? Neuropathways. And you go into the same neuropathways, your life will not change. And if you are happy with where you're at, if you don't think there could be an improvement, then don't make any changes. But if that's not the case, if you think there could be an improvement in your life, then you need to work on reflection. And I am sure everybody can say there can be an improvement. That doesn't mean you're unhappy with your life, but there's always room for improvement. There's always room for improvement. And it can be financially, it can be emotionally, it can be having more friends or a different society around you, anything that requires, okay? Now, because life is happening very quickly, our responses are very quick. And we really don't ever really think we don't think outside of the box when we respond that quickly. So that's okay. And our comfort zone then goes into the familiar responses. When you read Dispenza, the neuroscientist, he says, going blindly through life, taking the same routes over and over without exploring new destinations. And that is the truth, okay? If we could look at reflection as an exciting journey to fulfill our life, we would practice it diligently, okay? You can't look at life as being the same thing over and over and over. The external life can be the same thing over and over, but your internal life can be very exciting and very much like a new movement. Internal life will eventually change the external life. But external life is not so easy to change. First, we must change the internal life. And it can be very exciting how to find, our mind is the most complex organism on the planet. You think your body is complex, the mind is even more complex. And to find ourselves and to realize why we're acting the way we're acting, why we are thinking the way we're thinking. And we are not trained to understand that. But when you look inside, when you reflect inside, you begin to learn what is making you tick-tock. Tick, 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 like a clock. Because generally it's just automatic, all right? Our vibrations, whatever we vibrate, and every thought is a vibration, whatever we vibrate precedes physical action. Mental thought is more powerful, or is as powerful as your physical actions. Are you aware of that? And how many mental thoughts do you have in the day that you don't even know that you're thinking? So that's because our thoughts are strongly influenced by our subconscious mind and our unconscious mind. We live by pre-programmed behavior. Now, if you have a computer and it's running Windows 7. What are you going to do? Let's say you can't throw it out. What are you going to do? You're going to reprogram it. The same thing we need to do. We need to reprogram our computer to be what we like to work with. Okay? Now, or you could stay on Windows 7. Some people are very comfortable with it. It's just slower. Doesn't allow you all the programs. It goes the same thing over and over. I mean, you could stay with it. It's not a... our life will not change unless we change our reaction to our life. Know that to be true. Okay? Is my life... So here's your question I would like you to ask yourself. Is your life exactly the way you want it? Are there areas that you would like to change and improve? Okay? Health, career, relationship, or difficulties. Now, it takes time and effort. And that means this time and effort is difficult to do when you're reacting to people. So, we need to then, once you have reacted a certain way, we need to step back and say, was this the way I would like to have been reacting? Was this the way? Very important to take and look at our thoughts. We generally don't look at our thoughts. I have this problem with people, especially if they're sitting there and they're just, you think they're in meditation, but they're staring, so you know they're not. And you ask, what are you thinking? And they go, oh, I don't know. If you ask yourself, when you're just hanging around, not doing anything, what are you thinking? You get a blank answer. Are you aware of that? Because the mind cannot be quiet, by the way. The mind has to think. So what's going on in the background is background music of past thoughts. Every thought that you have ever had is in the ether, and you keep repeating the same thought. As a matter of fact, there's a whole bunch of thoughts that you keep repeating, and you're not even aware of the fact that you are thinking them. It's called background music, because a mind cannot be quiet. The only time that you are not using background music is when you focus your mind on something. Otherwise, when you're walking, you're doing the dishes or whatever, unless you're thinking about something, that is repeating in the background. Now, whatever repeats in the background makes deeper grooves or puts more energy into the neural pathways. What if that background music is not what you like and you're not even aware of it? Do you want that running in the background? That is my question. Because you might not have put it there. Somebody else might have put it there. Or you have maybe outgrown. Maybe you needed it when you were 15 or 10 or 5 or 30 or 50. Maybe you needed it then, but now you don't. So you want to make sure that you're running the program that you want to be running, and that requires you to reflect on your mind. And we're not taught that in school, and we should be. We should be taught these things because, especially now that science has finally caught up with yoga, okay, and is understanding that there can be no change. And Napoleon Hill at one point tried very hard to think and grow rich and so forth, to explain that to people, and it works. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking to try to achieve something. I'm talking about changing the whole unit, the whole lifestyle, not just, think and grow rich, because richness comes in many ways. Richness is not just finances. Richness is feeling fulfilled in your emotional, in your spiritual, in your social. Everything is richness. And that's the one I'm worried about, especially. Everybody sitting here has enough to eat and has a roof over their head, so they don't have to worry about that. And of course, everybody would like to have more abundance. There's no question about it. And you can. But abundance will flow to you when you are ready and when you deserve it. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Now, when you start looking at the pre-program, and you have to step out of your comfort zone, it requires courage. Courage. Courage is the most important thing in your life. Courage to look at yourself truthfully, courage to change, courage to be full of energy. All of that requires courage. Courage will give you the power for reflection. But we talked about courage before, but today we're talking about reflection. But that requires courage. If we do not, we are repeating the same predictable future and routine. You say to yourself, well, the people are going through the same thing over and over and over. It's because they're not looking at their mind. What your mind creates comes out of you, your energy comes out, and it goes out into the world, picks up similar energy, and comes back. You are magnetic. And for you young ones, remember, you are magnetic. Whatever you send out, you will attract. If you look at science, you know that everything is a vibration. And vibrations attract similar vibrations. All you have to think about is the old-time radios, where you had to tune to pick up radio waves. Well, we have mind waves the same way, except the tuner is our own mind and our own thoughts. So when we turn on our thoughts, we then tune into other people's similar thoughts, and they come in and they reaffirm our thoughts or overpower our thoughts or whatever. And I keep giving you the same example. Go to a person that is in a depressive mood to their home and try to get them out. And you say, come on, let's go. We want to go, let's go. And they're feeling, I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to do nothing. About 15 minutes later, you don't want to do nothing. You're the same way. It is. And if you have a person that is full of energy and they say, I want to go dancing, and they're full of energy and they're ready to dance right in front of you, like Fairy always comes here. And what happens? Your body begins to become lighter. You start putting a smile on your face. With other words, we are very much influenced by other thoughts, by other things. If we become aware of, if we take it and really work with that, it is most important. When we have unsurmountable problems, well, what we think are unsurmountable, let's look at them. Are they really unsurmountable? How am I reacting to it? Those are the things. And know this. Mother Nature or God will not give you a problem that you cannot surmount. You might have terrible things, but know there is always a solution in your life. Okay? And by the way, life will always give you problems, so don't think that you're going to live a life without problems. I mean, just forget that. No matter how you program your mind, it's always going to give you problems. And it's always going to test your programming, by the way, because it's going to make them stronger. Okay? Just like you build a muscle, it's going to keep testing your programming. Once we judge ourselves, though, you cannot make a change. So when you reflect, the most important thing is not to judge. Once you judge yourself, you have lost all power in your personal life and everything. You cannot judge. You can say that's not a good idea, but you cannot say I'm terrible. You can say I have the power, that was not a good choice, but you cannot put yourself down. That's what I mean by judgment. You can judge the action, but you cannot judge this person. Okay? Do you understand the difference? You can judge your action, but you cannot judge the person. And you cannot, so that is, once you judge yourself or other people, you have lost the ability to make a change. That's absolute. Because any judgment like that, of the personal judgment, disempowers you and it disempowers the person, or especially children. Okay? Now, there is the best time to practice reflection is in the evening as you're retiring, because that's you're already in a relaxed, you're supposed to be in the evening, in a relaxed state. And this is a beautiful way of doing it. It's in the Scripting Your Destiny by Rana. And I'll read it to you. After you are in bed, just before falling asleep, take a few minutes to review your day. No judgment or recrimination, just be an observer. What did you do that day that was not of a higher vibrational energy? How could you have acted or reacted differently? What did you say that you could have expressed in a more loving or compassionate way? What did you not say that you should have expressed? Did you project any feeling of resentment or anger? Did you allow others to color your reality negatively with their belief or energy cords? Did you experience more loving interaction than negative interactions? And so these are the questions, and they go fast. This takes time, but when you're thinking, it goes fast. And here's the key. Here's the beautiful key. Then say something like this: I call upon the mighty law of forgiveness, the angel of forgiveness, to transmute, balance, and harmonize any discordant energy that I have projected today that was not of love and light. And guess what? It has to happen. Because once you say that prayer, it must be so. It is the law. Guess what? You've just removed the karmas, the reactions. Do you see what reflection will do? It's not just changing your life, it's also changing your future. Because if you did this every night, then any time that you, to transmute, balance, and harmonize any discordant energy that I have projected today that was not of love and light. And guess what? We always project something. So just say that automatically. But you have to reflect so that you can't repeat it all the time, because after so many repetitions, then it's not going to work. And know that you can't be perfect. Who's expecting you to? And also, if you, during your review in the evening, and you say, oh, I handled that good, pat yourself on the back, because you need approval of yourself as well. It's very important. That is also important. Just like if you get up every morning and do your yoga, pat yourself on the back. And if you don't get up every morning and do your yoga, forgive yourself in the evening. Yeah, you want to take care of him. To be, we need to be honest with ourselves. Honesty. Sat. Very, very difficult. You think honesty is when I speak, I'll be honest. No, honesty means looking at myself and being truly honest. Usually, we kind of like whitewash everything and skip around a little bit and run around the bush and make it look good. We don't really look at ourselves honestly. And let's take a look, because we don't judge. We don't want to judge. You want to look from outside. And if you can do that, it will be wonderful. And you will be scripting a new destiny. And you'll be scripting a whole new life and a whole new way of living your life. And at the end of the month and at the end of the year, did we accomplish what we set out to do? If you took right now and said to yourself, did I accomplish this year what I wanted to do? Can you honestly say yes? That is a good question, isn't it? And we all have goals. And we should be able to fulfill those goals if they are reasonable. And if we are not fulfilling the goals, know that you or we are not looking at what is holding us back. And what is holding us back is our own mind. Because any goal that you set for yourself, you can accomplish. Finished. It's just that simple. Just do it. Haven't you heard that word before? For the last, how long have I been teaching you? All right. And if you come across something unsurmountable, allow it to become a challenge. Do you know that people climb up mountains because they love the challenge? They love the challenge. So take the challenge of your mind and climb up the mountain of the insurmountable and take that challenge. Take a challenge. And, you can be confined, but if your mind is active, it doesn't matter, because it becomes a new journey each and every time. It becomes something that is exciting. It becomes something that you can accomplish. It becomes something that you can work on. And it's just beautiful. It's just a wonderful thing. So let's look at our own selves through reflection and find that which belongs to us rather than the mind's program and belief system. Because your mind, my mind, our mind has been programmed. And it has been programmed on purpose by our society, and especially by TV, by the commercials, by everybody tries to program us. And guess what? They're very successful. Okay? And if our mind is inactive and just responding, the programs come in. If we are reflective, we put a barrier of those programs. Because really, to tell you the truth, I don't want to be programmed by society. I'm looking at society. It isn't the greatest. And I certainly don't want to be programmed by people selling me things, so that when I go into the grocery store, I'll be picking up the subject that they're trying to sell me because it's in my mind programmed, this is the good stuff, rather than me looking at the other stuff. So we are programmed, know that. And this programming, don't accept it. Do something about it. Stop it. Reflect. And I love this. Call on the mighty law of forgiveness and get rid of all this junk we have accumulated through our lifetime. And that's what I call it. Sorry to call your brain a junk, but I call my brain a junk. Junk I don't want, I like to, or dirt, let's sweep it clean and let's program it the way we want it. All right? And get a new computer. Update your computer system. Everybody needs a new computer. You need a new computer every, 4 or 5 years, right? We need a new computer every 4 or 5 years.
If somebody's paying for them. I'm not.
Well, I don't know. My computer only runs 4 or 5 years, and then it wants to die. Yeah, no. But no judgment. Please take out the judgment, because judgment disempowers you, and you will not be able to make any changes. Just reflect. There's a big difference between looking at your faults and reflecting at your programming. Because we don't have faults, we just pre-programmed. So in my personal opinion, everybody is fine. They have the right tools inside. It's just that they're not using the tools because the computer system is not picking up that program. Got that? Okay. And with that, I will close the Sunshine Lecture. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.